Are you a little bit confused as to the fashion choices that you could make when you're going out sailing? Well, if you are, you've come to the right place, because we're going to be looking at what to wear when you go cat sailing. Hello, yes, it's Joe here for Joyrider TV, and as you may have guessed, we're going to be taking a look at some choices you could make when choosing what to wear to go out sailing. We'll start off by looking at what could be called the essentials and safety equipment, and then we'll take a look at what you could wear depending on the temperature of the air and the water when you're out there on the water. Now, before we start, it may seem during this video that I'm just blatantly plugging some products, but the reason behind that is because I use the sailing kit that I use, and that's the sailing kit that I'm used to. Of course, other brands will be making similar items, but these are the items that I use and I've tested, so I can say with confidence that they do what they should do and they're very good. So the first and most important piece of equipment that you're going to need to wear whenever you go sailing is a buoyancy aid. The buoyancy aid is going to help you to float if you go in the water. It's also going to give you a bit of impact protection. Now, I use the Crew Saver Kite buoyancy aid. Goes on from the side, very easy, side zip, very adjustable. We clip that up, but every time you go out sailing, you should be wearing a buoyancy aid, unless there is absolutely zero wind and you're just sunbathing on the boat or going fishing. But otherwise, if you're going along, you should really wear a buoyancy aid. This one's also good because it's got this cutout here at the front, which means it doesn't obscure your trapeze hook as well. It's not particularly bulky, highly adjustable, so you can get it just right. And when you're choosing a buoyancy aid, you should try to choose one which is as tight as possible. So perhaps go a size down when you're trying one on, go a size smaller than you think, so that it's tight, so if you are in the water, it doesn't get lifted up and come around your ears, so it stays in position. Good buoyancy aids will have a pocket on the front. There are some things that you could consider keeping in your pocket. Most importantly is a knife. I use a Gerber Power Frame, of course, but any knife is going to help. It's going to be better than no knife at all. But I use this one because it's not very bulky. What else have we got in here? I've got a squished roll of tape. You never know when you're going to need some tape. And then going a bit deeper, I've got a selection of shackles, split rings, split pins, which again, you never know if you're going to need something like that. And then probably having a small length of rope in there as well, something thin, just a 3mm, 2 meters long. That could be used for almost anything on the boat. Very useful indeed. I always wear footwear whenever I go sailing, unless there is absolutely zero wind, and especially if I'm sailing from a sandy beach and there's zero wind, I'm quite happy with bare feet in that situation. You need to consider what the surface is which is going to take you from the beach to the water. If there's rocks inside the water, which might be very uncomfortable underfoot. If it's windy, you're going to be trapezing, then footwear is a good idea. If you might capsize, then definitely footwear is a good idea, because if you capsize the boat and you've got bare feet, the capsized hull of the boat is going to be extremely slippery, like an ice rink, making it very difficult to right the boat. Whereas put your shoes on and then you'll have some traction, making everything a lot more comfortable and doable. The choices of footwear that I'm making these days are, firstly, for my everyday sailing shoes, I'm using the Gull Code Zero sailing shoes, which I picked up 2 years ago. They're still going really nicely. These are available as a short ankle boot and as a high ankle boot, depending on the temperature that you're going to be sailing in. But these have been excellent. The grip is very good, very durable, very good choice. The other choice that I'm making at the moment, much more versatile than the regular sailing shoe, is these sandals that I've got from Zero Shoes. They're called Colorado sandals, and they are absolutely excellent because they've got the sole is about the same thickness as on the sailing shoe, so very thin indeed. So it is like having bare feet, but they make it really nice for walking on the beach as well. And to be honest, I haven't taken them off since I've had them. But to be honest, if I'm going to go out sailing and it's going to be windy, I'm going to be going with the Gull shoes. They've got a little bit of thermal quality and they are designed for the purpose. Now, the next most significant piece of equipment that you may need is a trapeze harness. Personally, if I was going to be going out sailing maybe on a 16 in really light winds and I knew the wind wasn't going to increase, I'd probably not put the harness on, maybe just clip it to the trampoline lacing, so if the wind did come up later, I'd have it available, because there is a certain amount of discomfort involved with any trapeze harness. But as soon as you're going to be looking at sailing in the stronger winds, a trapeze harness is essential. Now, I use a Magic Marine Smart harness. This is actually the bottom of the Magic Marine trapeze harness range, but what I find is it's an absolute no thrills, no fuss trapeze harness, very lightweight, very minimalist, so it's only got what you need. Not quite as much support maybe as the harnesses up the range, but it really does do the job. And I've used one of these for about 15 years now, and it's always been very reliable and very nice. With the fitting of the trapeze harness, most importantly is the hook. To get the hook tight in to your body, do check out the video that I did just about putting on trapeze harnesses. You can see that just here. Shoulder straps should be just so that you can't quite straighten up on the beach. That will make you comfortable out on the water. So now we've looked at the essentials. Next thing comes, how much warmth do you need for where it is that you're going to be going sailing? I've actually come up with a warmth scale of 0 to 6. So we're going to have our base layer and then our add-ons, which can add extra warmth. So starting with extremely warm conditions, where even with any wind chill, you're still going to be very warm, the base layer would probably just be a pair of shorts. I would always suggest shorts if you're going to be wearing a trapeze harness. So gentlemen, not the Speedos, and ladies, sorry to say it, but the bikini bottoms can become uncomfortable if you're wearing a trapeze harness. A pair of shorts is going to help to prevent chaff. You don't want chaff. Then as we're getting slightly colder, personally, I go for a short john, which is short legs and a vest top all in one, like a wrestling suit is what I like to call it. Then going one level colder in the conditions, so this will be a warmth of 2, we go for a shorty wetsuit, which is usually about a 2mm wetsuit with short legs and short arms. That is going to provide a reasonable amount of warmth. If perhaps it's a hot day but you get some wind chill, then a shorty wetsuit is a good idea. But also the short john or the shorty is going to give you some more protection from the harness. A good alternative to the shorty, and what I prefer to wear, is a long john. So this is a 1.5mm long john wetsuit, which isn't quite as warm as a shorty, but it gives you some protection on your legs, especially the knees. And then moving up, we could go for a summer suit. A summer suit is generally what's called a wetsuit, which has got long legs and short arms, which, as it's called, is perfect for summer conditions. So going up one, then we'd move on to a 3-2, so a bit warmer than the summer suit, but very good. And then moving up from the 3-2 would be a 4-3. This is what I use here in Greece in the winter for warmth. Moving up, we'd go to a 5-3, which would be really getting quite warm as a wetsuit. So for a winter suit in Europe or somewhere where there might even be the odd bit of snow about, a 5-3 would be a good idea. And a 5-4, as you could guess, is a little bit warmer than a 5-3. And then at the top of the scale, and I haven't got one to demonstrate, would be a dry suit, which is like a heavy spray suit with seals around the wrists and the ankles, or even with boots at the bottom built in, so no water can get in. And then you can wear whatever you like underneath. So you could wear like a thermal suit, like a fleece thermal suit. You could, if you're like James Bond, you could wear your dinner jacket and bow tie underneath, so you're ready as soon as you get there. Or if you're just too cool for school, you could put jeans and a t-shirt on underneath, but that might be a little bit uncomfortable. With the wetsuits, the higher quality the wetsuit, the warmer it will be. So if you were to get, for example, a high quality 3-2 wetsuit, that would probably be warmer than a lower quality 4-3. And with the lighter, thinner wetsuits, they stretch more and are more comfortable, and they're going to last longer as well. So it is worth paying a bit for a decent wetsuit because it's going to last you longer, be more comfortable. It's not going to feel as restrictive with your movements, so worth going for a decent wetsuit. So then we've got our base layer sorted. If we want to add a little bit more and to give us a bit of flexibility, so you get a bit more range out of whichever base layer you've gone for, there are a few options you can have on your top half, which if it's very warm, you could go for a loose fitting top like this. This is what Keith calls a technical top. It's very quick drying. The more traditional option would be the rash vest, which is very good for keeping the sun off if it's really hot, but also for if you're not having on anything underneath, for stopping getting that chaff from the trapeze harness or buoyancy aid, which is a very good idea. This is one from Rasher, who are friends of mine from Ireland, who make these rash vests out of reclaimed plastic from the ocean. So they're doing their bit for the ocean, and they're very comfortable, completely customizable. So if you want a completely customized rash vest, these are the guys to see. Check out the link in the description below. Going up from the rash vest, you could have a thermal rash vest, a rating of an extra 1 to your warmth. Or the thermal rash vest could also go underneath your wetsuit to add a bit of extra temperature there if you need it. You could actually go for a wetsuit top. Like with all of the rash vests or tops, these would be available as a long sleeve or a short sleeved, but this particular wetsuit top is a 1.5mm, and I absolutely love it. It just makes it so versatile what you can wear to go out on the water. So either with a pair of shorts, with a short john, with a long john, and then perhaps more traditional, you could go for a spray top, which like the name suggests, is good for keeping the spray off. So really good for over the top of your wetsuit. And then the last pieces of kit we'll look at are just some extras that you could throw into the mix. The first one, very popular if you're going sailing in shorts, very sensible as well, is knee pads. Knee pads are going to stop you from wearing all the skin off your knees, and it's going to keep you comfortable for longer. So well worth, if you're sailing in hot conditions, getting some knee pads. This is going to help. And the final one is the rash vest over the top of everything. You are going to need to have a rash vest at least one size bigger than what you'd usually choose. Otherwise, your rash vest is going to be completely ruined afterwards. Now, as you can see, this can make you look like you've been spending a bit too much time in the gym. It's good because it keeps everything tucked away and tidy. I don't personally go for this option. I did for a while, but I don't anymore because I like to have the pocket of the buoyancy aid available and to have the option to take the buoyancy aid off quickly if necessary. The one last thing is, do you go over the top or underneath with the trapeze harness? Do you put it over the top of the buoyancy aid or underneath the buoyancy aid? Again, personal preference comes in here. The trapeze harness over the top is going to stop the buoyancy aid from riding up if you're in the water. Can make it more comfortable. I think a lot of the more old school sailors go for buoyancy aid underneath, but having the buoyancy aid on top means you have got the option to take off your buoyancy aid should you need to take your buoyancy aid off for any reason. The last thing with the trapeze harness is it is worth finding a trapeze harness which has got a quick release on the spreader bar, so you can get rid of your hook if you get stuck in any situation. For all of the items that I've featured in this video, do check out the description below, and I've put links to all of these items in my Amazon storefront. If you go to any of these links, it doesn't mean it's going to cost you any more or anything. It just means I get a very small commission if you buy any of these items through that link that I have supplied. Yeah, so there we go. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks for watching. There'll be more coming up soon on Joyrider TV. Thanks to everybody who's been supporting the channel, whether it's been through Patreon, making PayPal donations, always welcome, or by visiting the totaljoyrider.com online store, where you can get some very nice t-shirts, hoodies, flags and other stuff which I've designed myself with these hands, and by getting anything from there you are directly helping me, which is helping all this to happen. So thanks very much. See you next time.